Imagine the weight of the world watching you. Millions of eyes, billions of expectations. And in the middle of it all, you make the brave choice to say no. No to the medal. No to the applause. Yes to yourself. That's what Simone Biles did at the 2021 Olympics. She stepped away. Not because she was weak, but because she was wise enough to know winning isn't worth losing yourself. This moment wasn't just about gymnastics. It was about something much deeper. It was about identity. Because in a world that tells us our worth is tied to our results, our titles, our likes, our promotions, it's easy to believe that if you fail, you are a failure. But that's a lie. A dangerous one. As Ryan Holiday says, you control the effort, not the outcome. And Tony Robbins reminds us, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. This video isn't about motivation. It's about liberation. Freeing yourself from the chains of needing to prove your value through external wins. We're stepping off the stage today, taking off the mask, and asking a deeper question. Who are you when no one is watching? Throughout this journey, we'll explore real stories of athletes, artists, leaders, and everyday heroes who found their strength not in trophies, but in truth. And we'll draw from timeless wisdom, from names like Robbins, Holiday, Duckworth, Dweck, Dispenza, and more to help you shift from chasing validation to building real inner power. Because your greatest achievement may never show up on a resume. It may not go viral. It may not be seen by anyone but you. But it's yours. And that might just be what makes it so powerful. What if the thing you're most ashamed of is actually the place where your strength is being built? Let's talk about a name, Michael Jordan. Before the championships, before the shoes, before the GOAT debates, he was just a high school kid, and he got cut from the varsity basketball team. Imagine that. He cried. He went home and locked himself in his room. But he didn't quit. Jordan said later that it was that exact failure, being rejected, that lit the fire. He practiced harder, got stronger, sharpened every skill, not to prove others wrong, but to become the version of himself that he could be proud of. That's the difference. Success wasn't a scoreboard. It was a standard. Tony Robbins says, you don't get your goals, you get your standards. And Jordan raised his. Now think about Bethany Hamilton. She was 13 when a shark took her left arm while surfing in Hawaii. She almost died. Doctors said she'd never surf competitively again. But less than a month later, she was back in the water. Not to be famous, not to go viral, but because the ocean was where she felt most alive. That's what Ryan Holiday calls the dichotomy of control. Focus only on what you can control. Effort, discipline, mindset. Let go of the rest. Bethany couldn't control what happened to her, but she could control how she responded. And that's where her power came from. We're taught to chase outcomes, grades, followers, promotions, likes. But those things are slippery, unstable. One moment they're up, the next they're gone. And when our identity is tied to them, we break right along with them. Carol Dweck, the psychologist behind the growth mindset movement, said it clearly. When success is about proving you're smart or talented, you avoid challenges. But when it's about learning and growth, you seek them out. This is why Terry Fox matters. Diagnosed with cancer at 18, had his leg amputated. But instead of hiding, he ran. He launched the Marathon of Hope, running thousands of miles across Canada with one leg to raise money for cancer research. He didn't finish the marathon. His cancer returned. But to this day, he's remembered as one of the greatest Canadian heroes of all time. Tony Robbins often says, your story doesn't define you. What you do next does. Terry Fox chose contribution over comfort, legacy over loss, and he didn't need a gold medal to be great. Now picture Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger, pilot of U.S. Airways Flight 1549. Birds hit the engine midair. He had no power, no time, and he made a split-second decision, land in the Hudson River. 155 people on board. All of them survived. Sully didn't perform a miracle. He did what he was trained to do. He stayed calm, focused, present. That's what years of unseen effort prepared him for. Holiday says, The real test is not when everything is going well, but when the sky falls. Will you be ready? You see, greatness isn't always loud. It doesn't always trend. And it often comes from doing the work no one sees. That's where David Goggins comes in. He was overweight, broke, cleaning up dead bugs for a living. But something snapped. He realized no one was coming to save him. He took full responsibility, trained, suffered, became a Navy SEAL, then became an ultramarathon runner. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. So what does this mean for you? It means your value is not up for debate. It's not based on applause. It's built every time you get back up, every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you give your best, even when no one is clapping. Because real success isn't about being seen. It's about being solid. Today, you might not be on a stage. You might not be on a podium. But you're on your own path. And if you keep showing up fully, honestly, with intention, that's enough. You're enough. Let's get honest. Sometimes you can have everything, the title, the attention, the success, and still feel completely empty. That's the cost of living for other people's approval. We're trained to chase praise. From the moment we're kids, we're told, be the best, win the game, make them proud. But no one teaches us what to do when we win and still don't feel whole. Take Tom Brady, for example. He wasn't born a champion. He was picked 199th in the NFL draft. 6 quarterbacks were chosen before him. The experts didn't see much potential. But Brady did something powerful. He stopped waiting for approval and started building his own legacy. Brady became the winningest quarterback in NFL history. And yet, he once admitted in an interview, "There's times where I'm not the person I want to be. That's not about touchdowns. That's about something deeper. Identity beyond performance." Tony Robbins often says, "The greatest failure is success without fulfillment." And that's exactly what we're exploring. Think about Chadwick Boseman. He starred in Black Panther, 42, Marshall, while silently battling stage 3 cancer. No one knew. He gave every ounce of himself to his work, not because he was chasing fame, but because he believed in using his gift while he still could. That's what Ryan Holiday means when he says, "Reputation is what others think of you. Character is what you think of yourself." Chadwick's legacy wasn't in red carpets. It was in quiet courage, in choosing purpose over applause, in showing up even when the world had no idea what it cost. It's easy to live for the image, to post what gets likes, to say what gets nods. But when you base your self-worth on outside noise, you lose your own voice. Angela Duckworth, the author of Grit, reminds us, it's passion and perseverance, not talent, that leads to long-term success. And Les Brown says it straight. Don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality. That's why Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, mattered so much. He didn't chase trends. He didn't follow the crowd. He spoke slowly, kindly, directly, in a world full of noise. TV execs mocked him, said he was too soft. But decades later, millions remember him not for flash, but for truth. Rogers stayed rooted in his values. He knew that real power doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. Now think of Viola Davis. Born into poverty, faced racism, rejection, and typecasting. But she refused to be a character written by someone else. She took the pen back, created roles with depth, spoke openly about shame, insecurity, and self-acceptance. She once said, "The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity." And she didn't wait for it. She became it. So here's the truth. No amount of praise can fill a soul that's hungry for purpose. No award can replace the peace of knowing you showed up as yourself. If you're constantly performing for others, if you feel like your value is based on who notices, then it's time to shift the focus. Because your worth doesn't come from being liked. It comes from living aligned. Tony Robbins puts it like this: trade your expectations for appreciation, and your whole life changes. So maybe today's the day to stop proving and start being. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, authentic, grounded, intentional. That's enough. And you are enough. Success. It's the word everyone's chasing, but most people never stop to define it. We grow up with someone else's version of what winning looks like. Money, followers, applause, a picture-perfect life. But what if those goals aren't yours? What if success could look different, feel deeper? Let's start with Serena Williams. Yes, she's one of the greatest athletes of all time. But behind the trophies is a woman who's faced more criticism than celebration. Because of her skin, her power, her voice. She didn't just fight to win matches, she fought to be seen as herself. Serena said, "I've had to learn to embrace me. I've had to learn to love me." That's success. Not the trophy. The self-acceptance. Tony Robbins teaches this often. Success is doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, as much as you want. But even deeper than that, he reminds us that fulfillment comes from progress, not perfection, not comparison, just moving forward. Now, picture Nadia Bolz-Weber, a former addict. She could have stayed hidden, buried in shame. Instead, she became a voice for the broken, a pastor, a best-selling author. She didn't fit the mold, and that's exactly what made her powerful. Ryan Holiday calls this the true essence of stoicism. The obstacle becomes the way. What you once saw as a weakness becomes your path, if you face it with honesty. Let's look at Shaquem Griffin. He was born with a condition that led to the amputation of his left hand. Yet he made it to the NFL, not because of what he lacked, but because of what he brought. Effort, heart, relentless discipline. He wasn't just proving a point. He was proving what's possible. This is what Joe Dispenza means when he says, "Your personality creates your personal reality." If you see yourself as broken, your life mirrors that. But if you see yourself as capable, growing, and powerful, everything shifts. We live in a culture obsessed with more. More money, more followers, more validation. But real success isn't measured in more. It's found in alignment. That's why Liz Murray's story matters. She was homeless as a teenager. Her parents were addicts. She ate from dumpsters. But she never gave up her mind. She kept studying. Eventually, she was accepted into Harvard. Her win wasn't just the diploma. It was the discipline she built in silence. The decision to believe her life wasn't over. It was just beginning. Robin Sharma puts it this way. Small daily improvements are the key to staggering long-term results. One of those small improvements changed Hal Elrod's life. He was in a car accident, pronounced dead for 6 minutes. Later, he went bankrupt. But instead of collapsing, he created a new routine, one that would inspire millions. His book, The Miracle Morning, has transformed lives globally. And it was born in the darkest hour. Hal says, "Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development." So here's the truth. Success starts inside. It's not something you chase. It's something you build, moment by moment, choice by choice. It's how you talk to yourself when no one else hears. It's how you keep your promises to yourself. It's waking up one morning and realizing you're proud of who you are regardless of where you are. That's success. So today, ask yourself, what does success mean to me, not to them, but to me? What did it look like if I defined success by how present I was, not how perfect? What kind of person am I becoming, even when no one sees? Because if you're growing, you're winning. If you're aligned, you're succeeding. And if you're being honest with yourself, you're free. You don't have to be better than anyone else. You just have to be better than the old version of you. Every single day. There comes a moment in every story, in every life, when the lights go off, the crowd leaves, the noise fades, and it's just you and the mirror. No titles, no applause, just the truth of who you are. We began this journey with Simone Biles, who chose peace over podiums. We walked through the fire with Jordan, Bethany, Terry, and Sully, who showed us that greatness isn't about the moment you're seen, but how you rise when no one's watching. We exposed the lie of outside validation through Brady, Boseman, Rogers, and Viola, each of them reminding us that your soul matters more than your spotlight. And then we came home to ourselves. With Serena, Shaquem, Liz, Nadia, and Hal. Each one building a success rooted in presence, not perfection. Now it's your turn. You've worn many masks. You've stood on many stages. You've tried so hard to measure up. But what if you stopped performing? What if you stopped waiting to be enough and just decided that you already are? As Ryan Holiday says, do your job. Do it right. That's enough. And Tony Robbins reminds us, it's not what we get that makes us happy. It's who we become. So today, you don't need a spotlight. You need a standard. You don't need more followers. You need more alignment. And you don't need to prove your worth. You need to remember it. Let the world chase the outcome. You choose the effort, the integrity, the growth. That's your win. If this message spoke to you, share it. Not for views, but for truth. Leave a comment and tell us. What does success mean to you now after hearing all this? And if you want to walk this journey together, hit like, subscribe, and stay connected. Because you're not alone. You never were. And now, the stage is yours.
Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.